Hi, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. So, this is a little bit of a new reading for me. I felt called to do a money reading or a financial health and wealth reading, or we can call it an abundance reading. We're just meeting the mystery in this moment. So much of the spiritual path, I think, takes us away from these more tangible 3D matters. And we have to remember that our financial health and wealth is part of our grounding in this world, right? Anytime we can devote our life force to our stability, it also creates a safe container for us to walk this spiritual path. It creates a grounding. And so I just wanted to see an experiment with what would come up if I set the intention of what does this collective need to know about their financial health and well-being. So let's see where we go. I'm going to start off with this right here. It says, life is always working out for me. Okay, it says, I like understanding that things are always evolving. And while there are many things that could be better where I am, it is not really a problem because where I am is constantly changing to something better. I like knowing that as I look for the best things around me where I am, those things become more prevalent in my experience. It is fun to know that things are always working out for me, and as I watch for the evidence of that, I see more evidence of that every single day. What a beautiful way to ground this reading. Okay. So let's just, before I even jump into the reading, let's acknowledge that financial matters show up in the root chakra, right? Our root is our grounding to the world, our feeling of stability on this planet, our feelings of safety. Your root chakra is where your family of origin implanted their hard drive of beliefs, ideas, experiences into you. And, sometimes in certain families, this is more intentional, and other times we are just receiving what shows up in our childhood experience. Okay, I have to speak to this immediately because it's just, we have two cards of forgiveness here. And so it's important to name that how we feel about our relationship with money and how we feel about it and what we believe for ourselves about money, what we believe we can have or experience or attain is all rooted in this childhood and parental dynamic. I've heard even some people say that how your relationship with your mother and father is actually a mirroring of your relationship with money. Now, take that with a grain of salt because it's incredibly nuanced and has to be kind of dismantled and looked at piece by piece to really bring that message and those experiences home. So let's just stay really broad right now. Let's stay super zoomed out. Excuse me. So we have a double message here of forgiveness. So whatever you experienced or did not experience in your childhood, whatever your parents gifted you or were not able to gift you, whatever happened in those moments where you were receiving this lineage, this ancestral implantation of this either, everything on the spectrum from trauma, money trauma and awareness trauma, or, abundance and wealth mindset and these kinds of things. Whether you receive these things or not, or despite what you've received, we are being called to individuate, to deeply detach from our experiences that no longer serve us in the present moment. We are also being called to forgive whoever was part of that implantation. It's really easy to say our mother and father, right? Those are the core, those are the childhood celebrities, right? Our mother and father. So we're being called to forgive our mother and father, or any other caregivers, or any other key figures in your childhood that influenced you in this sort of way. We're also being called to forgive the parts of self that have not been able to individuate thus far on this path. We're also being called to forgive anyone or anything that has contributed negatively. Well, take that with a grain of salt, because everything, I think, happens for a reason, and there's a divine function for everything that happens. But in terms of this kind of zoomed out perspective, we're being called to forgive anyone or anything. It could have been a partner, it could have been a boss, it could have been your coworkers, anyone that has contributed any sort of pain or density or adversity around your relationship with money, or what is possible for you, right? These things, money is just a byproduct of a whole, healed, and complete individual, right? Hold on, that feels a little too binary. Let me rewind a little bit. So money is just an energy, right? It's just a resource. It's not good or bad. It is just this energy that is flowing through and around us at all times. And so, hold on. Yes, so we're being called to forgive any parts of self or anyone in our experience that has contributed negatively to our relationship with money. But again, money is a symptom of a greater thing, right? Being able to tap into the quantum field and access this field of abundance is a byproduct of being in flow. It is a byproduct of knowing you are worthy, of accessing. Oh, I just realized we have the self-love card right there. Of knowing your worth, of understanding that you incarnated here, or that your soul has this unique purpose, this divine mission, that you have these unique gifts and talents that you are here to anchor in 3D. So quite literally, your gifts and talents were plucked from the realm from the quantum field, from the realm of spirit, and then they came with you down into this realm of matter, into this physical body. Okay. We have two narratives here. The loudest one is this karmic completion, that there is a justice. Okay, it's so funny because when I get a hit of a narrative, there's also like shrapnel coming off of it, meaning there's all these side little stories that attach to it. So the biggest one here is something is coming back into balance. And as we complete our karma, as we take total and as we step into our sovereignty and take ownership over what is on our side of the street, as we take radical accountability for what has been given to us and what we have created, both good and bad, right? The full end of the full spectrum, we are coming back into balance. So the deeper and more accountable you can become for these little fracture points, for these what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, for these fractured moments, the more you can take ownership over cleaning up that I cannot think of the word. Anyway, moving on. The more you can step into this divine commitment to self, right? You are committing to the soul journey by taking radical accountability in the present moment, by integrating and embracing all of this self-love, knowing your worth, knowing that your gifts and talents are worthy of divine I was about to say divine justice. That's interesting that just came flying out of my mouth. Hold on. By the way, this is my first time working with two of these decks, and it is interesting. It's like learning a new language with how these decks speak to one another. And it's not lost on me that we have Merkaba on every single card. It's kind of activating the more that time goes into this reading. Okay. All right, so we touched on the heavy hitting messages. We touched on this need for forgiveness of people from our family of origin, whatever they implanted in us. If you grew up hearing that you're not worthy and you're never going to make it unless you do XYZ, then yes, that would have a bit of a strong effect on what you thought was possible for your life. And if no one's told you this, if the thing you desire is happening in existence, then it is possible for you to achieve that thing. Years ago, and actually not that long ago, I really believed, I had a limiting belief that my gifts and talents were not worthy to be shared, that no one would find them valuable, that it's a waste of time for me to invest in these things. And thank God I felt the call and ignored everything else. Thank God that I was able to take a step deeper and follow that calling, because I was deeply suffering by not following these gifts and talents, by not answering the call of my soul. I was deeply, deeply suffering. And so I just want to honor that if you do find yourself currently in this place, that to celebrate the fact that you're still treading water. It takes a profound amount of strength to still be in the game. Even if you feel like you're drowning, you're not. You're still, if you're listening to this, you are treading water. And we have to remember that just because we're not maybe at the destination where we want to be, it doesn't mean that you haven't developed Olympian-like swimming skills treading water on this path, on your journey. Okay. All right, where do we go next? I feel called to go back a little bit because the family of origin stuff can be incredibly painful to go back into, and I just wanted to speak with a little bit more gentleness around this work. For some of you, looking back may open up a ton of grief and pain. And I welcome you to step into this work as deeply as you can while still honoring your boundaries. If this is too much and you feel that the energies that arise will flood your circuits and it just will burn you out, then pause. Then take a step back. What's hysterical is, yes, with that, hold on. There is so much coming through. What's funny to me is that we have on one end of the spectrum this profound trauma and this call to caretake and safeguard and protect this very dainty, fragile work. And on the other end of the spectrum, there's some of you that are like cannonballing into the deep end. We have this brazen card I keep staring at. this is how I went through a period of time, especially around my big spiritual awakening, where I was in this energy. I was in this brazen energy. And although it carried me into incredible situations where I expanded and transformed, it also, there were moments where that brazen confidence, that moxie, that tenacious drive got me into situations where I did cross my boundaries, and it created a little bit more trauma. And what's always hard, the shamanic perspective, is everything is happening for us, right? Everything was divinely timed, everything was divinely planned. And so by being present and recovering from the thing you experienced, that's actually the lesson. Something in that work of that recovery was something that I needed in that moment. So it's a fine line, and only you can discern only you can answer the call of your soul and discern what is too much and what is the right amount. Yeah, there's also, in regards, remember, this is a collective reading in regards to wealth and financial stability and tangible physical money and our relationship with abundance. So we're talking about money. Like, let's just be honest. So there's a message coming through around surrendering our masks. It's very common that, this phrase of keeping up with the Joneses, it's really easy to get lost in the maintenance, because right when we're wearing masks, it requires so much life force and maintenance to quite literally maintain the illusions, right? To maintain the rat race of comparison and judgment of either self or other. So this is something that is also coming to a completion. Anytime you find yourself comparing what you have or don't have to someone else, it's a red flag to call yourself out. We have this really fun card over here. The colors remind me of remember Lisa Frank, all that rainbow stationery? That's what it reminds me of. But it's this celestial alignment. I think in another deck, we've gotten several times this cosmic alignment. So this is interesting. So again, we are tapping into the soul of money, right? One of my mentors described it once. What did he say? Wait, I'm trying to remember it. He said something, when you taste food that was made with love, it literally tastes different. It's almost like you're drinking and eating medicine when you're consuming food that was made with love. Well, he made the parallel that food made with love feels so different, and money used with love and made with love and created and received with love also tastes different. It also has a more nourishing effect on the giver and the receiver, on the investor and the one investing. You know what I'm trying to say, the investor and the one receiving the investment. Okay. So in the unconscious, we actually have this nature card right here. And so there's a massive recalibration taking place in the collective with regards to money. As consciousness raises, so too does our relationships with others, and the way we are intimate with others, in the presence that we bring to our work, in the presence and consciousness that we bring to our finances. It's all kind of, a rising tide lifts all ships, right? It's like, it's almost impossible for one to be unaffected by another. It's this constant, it's like the light shines on all things, right? This illumination penetrates all things. Nothing is out of reach for this awareness, for this level of cosmic consciousness. And so I think another place that we have to be mindful of recalibration is the nature of money, the soul of money. How are we coming into deeper integrity with what we're spending our money on, what we're making money doing? This is a really tough one, and this may rattle some cages. Let me say it like that. It's really easy to, my parents grew up in a generation where you pick your career. I don't even, probably generations after me as well. You pick a career, you pick a job, and you stay there for 40 years until it's time to retire. Maybe you get your pension, you get all your benefits, whatever, and that's it. With this new paradigm, that is not good enough. If our jobs do not serve the soul, or do not serve the soul end, because there's a lot of people doing stuff that they maybe don't absolutely love, but it serves their soul purpose, then that is a beautiful thing. However, for me, in my experience, I was doing something that I felt like was not only not serving my soul, but actually snuffing out my flame. It was very painful for me to be in those certain working environments when it felt like I was going against what I was called here to do. And let's be really clear about this. Sometimes it takes time from something in the realm of spirit to drop down into the realm of matter. So I want to put a massive disclaimer on this. I'm not a financial advisor. I am in no way, giving any sort of financial advice. But I want to say this kind of disclaimer on, if you feel called to make a change, see where you can make micro changes instead of up and quitting your job. Yes, that is what I did. I quit my job and I sold my house and I got rid of the majority of my belongings. Yes, I did those things. Do I recommend them for anyone else? No. What I recommend is for you to step into your sovereignty and access your intuition and wise discernment so that you can discern the next right kind of step for yourself. No one else can tell you what to do. No one else can tell you which changes to make that are in alignment with your soul. Because why? Because the call is coming from inside the house. No one else has that direct line to spirit for you. It's only you that can answer that phone and listen to what you're being called to do. Yeah, and I can't help it, in the unconscious, we have this happiness card, so yeah, this is tough. This is really tough for some of you that have been grinding it out for quite a while in either a job or even a full career or industry that no longer serves the soul. I mean, how many times you hear these people of it'll be someone who is very successful in their field, and then all of a sudden they burn out and they totally switch gears and they go from being an investment banker to owning a farm and working the land. Or, I think there was actually a football player that did that, an NFL football player. He made his money playing football and then he unplugged and bought a farm, and now that was his life. So again, I just have to say this over and over again, that no one can make these choices for you. And there's nothing saying that you have to jump off a crazy cliff to access this level of expansion and transformation with regards to your abundance, financial and financial wealth. Okay, let's see what else is here. I'm going to get some inner child cards because I'm just curious what would come up. All right, what does this collective need to know about wealth and money and finances? We have, you deserve to be seen. Let yourself be known. What's interesting about this, and I have to assume that most of the people watching me are people that are already in some sort of healing work. So for some of you that, and if you remember for the last couple months, there's been all of these messages about gifts coming online, more gifts or deepening your gifts. A lot of the clair gifts have been coming on. Maybe you notice that you're more clairsentient or clairaudient or claircognizant. So don't be scared to let yourself be seen in progress. Let yourself be known while you're in the divine mystery. You are protected in this call to something higher. If you are being called to something higher, it's intentional. So it's safe to be seen, right? If you feel aggressively that something is out of sync, that is dissonant in your field, well, then maybe it's just you're not pursuing the right thing, or maybe you're not hearing the pure call from soul. Maybe you're letting external influences. How many people were influenced by their parents about what to study in college or what to go to school for, what to become? There's some, lineages that only want their kids to become a doctor or a lawyer or a psychologist, something in more of a prominent profession. Well, if that child has no talent for those things, they're going to spend a lifetime doing work that is draining their life force. So really what this is about coming into deeper alignment with what your soul gifts are here to do. Let's see what else we get. Is there anything else, Spirit? Okay. Yeah, we have let it come forth. Give yourself permission to feel it. Yeah, this goes back to the grief and the forgiveness. We can walk gingerly, step lightly into this work, right? We could step so lightly and very slowly as we start to peel back the layers of why we think the way we think. Where did these fears come from, right? Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. So it's like, where did we pick up the evidence? Where did the world reflect back to us evidence that we are not worthy, right? That our gifts and talents are not just for this beautiful world. Oh, we also have, I didn't see this one. Disappointment is not the end. There is hope even in the darkest of nights. And then I laugh. Perfect. In the unconscious, we have, you are worthy. You are worth it all, my love. It just dawned on me again that this is the deck Inner Child Oracle. So all of these things are almost speaking to your inner child. So that might be a really beautiful exercise or journal exercise to write a letter to your inner child and ask. You can actually open up a dialogue with your inner child to see how they feel about money and their gifts and their talents. They might have insight that we don't have access to all the time. There's this exercise that I've heard done where you actually write a letter to your inner child with your dominant hand, and then you respond to yourself as your inner child with your non-dominant hand. And it makes it even more dramatic if you use like a marker or like a crayon. It's the wildest thing. So like I would write, dear inner child with my right hand, and then with my left hand attempt to write as my inner child to my adult. And there's usually beautiful insights that come out in that experience. Okay, what else should we get? Let's get some affirmation cards. These are all my new cards. Let's see what comes out. All right, Spirit, what does the collective need to know about wealth, money, abundance, blocks to abundance, limiting beliefs? What would help them overcome and come deeper into alignment? Let me shuffle the other way. Hold on. These new decks are a little sticky, so I got to break them in. Anything you want to share, Spirit? Oh, okay. Let's see. We have a stack. We have setbacks propel me forward. My personal growth is unlimited. I am dope. These are funny. The law of attraction works in my favor. The law of attraction is a powerful tool for manifestation. You attract more of what you focus on. So by making positive thoughts the center of attention in your life, you draw in opportunities to experience additional good fortune. I love all these positive cards. Let's see which one I want to read. Let's read My Personal Growth is Unlimited. It says, harness your power to develop your strengths. There is no limit to your personal improvement. Take time to understand any areas in your life that require further growth. There is nothing standing in between turning your good into great. I mean, this is such an awesome, I'm going to put this under this talent card right here. This is such a beautiful analogy, this idea of this nurturing your seed of your talent and bringing micro presence to it, and maybe just working on this thing, maybe just a little bit every day, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's thinking about it on your car ride to work. There's something about this kind of exponential growth that happens over time. And then I'll read this one. Setbacks propel me forward. We have the slingshot. Maintain a positive attitude and keep going. Make your biggest setback your greatest comeback. Think of yourself as a slingshot. The further you're pushed or pulled will generate more energy to surpass your previous position in life. Ooh, I love that, especially in terms of business. You know, it's like I've created many different things in my life. I've created different social media campaigns and social media community organizations and different things that some have worked and some have totally tanked. Some were just for me and my personal kind of creative outlet, and some I was trying to do something bigger, but I wasn't yet ready. It was almost like my vision was bigger than my skills were at that moment. And so it wasn't in alignment. There was something dissonant about that. So there may be something in that for some of you here. You know, I'm going to get one of these Angels and Ancestors cards. How much time do we have? Okay, we're okay. Anything else you want to? Okay, then. We have Earth Guardians. Earth Guardians, stay rooted and grounded. Yeah, you know, I mean, this is the message for any of this work. Make sure that you're not flooding your circus. Make sure you take the time to ground and organize this work so you don't get fully consumed with it. But by doing this, you are activating your deeper strength. And then we have Mirror Guardian, take time to reflect. Anything else? We also have High Priestess, harness mystic power. And then we have Direction Guardian, choose your path. I think it's interesting we have so many guardians. So again, it's that message that life is always working out for you. The universe is conspiring in your favor. It's just your work is in hearing the call and taking action. No matter how small it is, I can't stress this enough, that the micro action is actually, it's a paradox. What appears small is actually really big. Okay, interesting reading. I'm going to leave it there. Hope this was supportive, and I will see you in the next one.